how did we get to this? I remember in the 80s, the Cold War with Russia. Uh, that was like a constant thing in the news, the Cold War in Russia. We heard about Moscow recruiting everyone from powerful insiders and law enforcement to everyday Americans, and about deep cover KGB spies living quietly for years. And then the FBI confirmed in 2010 with the Russian illegals program and Anna Chapman. So, Mike, have we forgotten that recent history, and are we making the mistake of not questioning the agendas of American citizens who now so openly embrace communism?
I mean, I think I think I take a step further. I think we're not. We've almost returned not just to the '80s and the quote Cold War. I think we've returned almost to the '60s, like we're around the Cuban Missile Crisis kind of feeling. I think that there is uh, um, how would I word this? There are movements on both sides right now. I'll call it I don't know if communism is the right word, but
But Mike,
for the sake
it's
of argument,
never
we'll
been
call it
this
that.
popular in America to
True,
be a communist. It's blowing
true.
me away.
So you got that side, and then you've got the other side where it's almost returned to imperialism, right?
Yes.
So I think that we have shifted all of a sudden. You and I have talked about this before, where we've gone away from a quote global economy, or we feel like we're moving away from it, and now I would argue that we are moving towards a. I mean, if you follow what Trump's doing, we're moving towards an economy based on a regional economy, but it's based on imperialism because you want to bring in more. So I'll give you another prediction. I think that Cuba is going to fall very soon.
Oh,
They're not gonna hang on. They're going to get literally blacked out, meaning they got no oil coming in. They're going to shut. They're going to revolt. I think that they're not going to survive. And by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if we went in to Cuba as well and seized the leadership there. I wouldn't doubt that either.
I
Um,
could see that being the very next move because I don't think
yeah,
it's like that's something we could accomplish, be very successful at in a very short time frame.
yeah. If it took us 5 hours in Venezuela to pull off that operation, it'll take about 15 minutes in Cuba. So I would agree. I mean, but what I mean by this is that, see, these are setting up. It's fundamentally changed. I don't think people realize how important the whole Venezuela thing was, because it's fundamentally changing how the world works. We talked about earlier how has basically shown the world that China and the Soviet Union, or I'll call it the Soviet Union, but Russia and Putin are weak. Um, it's also shown that we are pretty damn strong. And more importantly than strong, we're willing, or maybe we are is not the right word. Trump and his administration is willing to use the power. So and they're working with the premise that if they don't take action now, the time is going to slip by and it's going to be too late. So we better do it now before we lose this war. To use what you, I know, Phil, you like to call it a war. I think it is.